Hello, lovelies, and welcome to another episode of Tespiration with Oin, a space where we talk real life, have honest, faith filled conversations that inspire purpose, growth, and intentional living. I'm your host, Oyin Consola, and today's conversation is one that I believe will inspire you guys and also speak deeply to the heart. Our topic today is gratitude, not the surface level kind, but the kind that holds you steady through uncertainty, disappointment, and even loss. So, I am really super excited about today's guest because she embodies purpose, service, and quiet impact in such a powerful way. She's a woman I admire so much. She's a woman who sees her life and work as a calling, and our journey has been shaped by faith. Our journey so far has been shaped by obedience and also commitment to serving others. So we have Ayomide. I am so glad to have you here, Ayomide. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
joining
much, Oini.
today. How are you doing?
I am very well. Thank you for having me.
Thank
I'm
you so much.
excited.
I am too. Okay, so to start off, right, can you briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you do?
Okay, thank you so much once again, Oyin, for having me. And in
You're
fact, you've done the
welcome.
introduction. I'll just say something
Okay.
briefly. So, my name is Ayomide Okileye, and I am a digital and gender rights advocate. Yeah, digital and gender rights advocate. And I see my life and my work as a calling to serve
Mm,
God through His creation. So I am
mm,
keen on purpose, leadership, service, and impact because I believe leadership is not just about the titles, nor about the
yeah,
offices, rather about the
right.
influence and the impact you have on others. So that's
Mm,
just a brief about me, just to make it
awesome.
very short. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, AY. You see, listening to you, one thing that really stands out is how intentional you are about impact. I know your story, right? And I think gratitude often grows from that awareness that our
Mm,
lives are bigger than just us, right? So let me
mm.
ask you this, Ayomide. When you hear the word gratitude, what does it personally mean to you?
Oh, thank you so much, Oyin, for that. And gratitude is a word that is mostly used by people in every space, every sector. But to me, gratitude
Mm,
is the ability to recognize God's hand, even when the
mm,
picture is not complete, even when the
mm,
picture is blurry, even when it is looking like it's not what you expect. So for me,
mm,
it is choosing awareness over entitlement and
mm,
learning to acknowledge both the good and the growth that are hidden in difficult
mm,
moments. So,
mm,
in simple terms, gratitude is understanding and recognizing God's hand in everything that happens, the good and the ugly. Yeah.
mm, Wow, that that's so profound, Ayomide. I liked the part where you said the ability to recognize God's hand. And you
Mm.
see, it's interesting because for many people, right, gratitude
Yeah.
isn't always automatic. It's
Yeah.
something that formed through experience. Like some people feel that I need to experience something good before I'm grateful, right? So
Yeah.
I'm cool. Was gratitude always a part of your life, or did you learn it over time?
For me, it has always been part of me, I don't know.
Mm,
This can, I think this stems from being the first child of the family, and our culture would say, oh, when you get this from an elder or from someone, you need to say thank you. So
mm,
it has been part of me because I've been socialized to understand that gratitude is a key. Also, growing up, gratitude was something I practiced mostly when things were going well.
mm,
So, but
mm,
life has
mm,
taught me that gratitude is deeper. It's not just something you do when things are going smoothly, when
mm,
things are going the way you expect. So, it's something
mm,
you grow into, especially
mm,
during uncertainty or waiting season. So, for me, it has always been part of me, and I've also grown into it deeper. Yeah.
mm. Wow, that's amazing. I love how honest that is. You mentioned that gratitude is deeper. Now, sometimes it takes life stretching us before
Yeah.
gratitude really comes through, right? So I want you to go deeper. Can you take us a bit deeper here? Can you share a defining moment when gratitude changed your perspective on life? Please just share your story with us.
Okay, I'll gladly do that. So
Thank
yes, there was a season when gratitude was really hard for me. I'm not gonna lie at this moment, and that was
you.
few months before the end of my National Youth Service Corps scheme. That's the NYSC, the 1 year NYSC. I studied human anatomy in school, Ladoke Akintola University of Technology. And if you know what human anatomy is all about, so many people just, when they hear the word human anatomy, they just think of cadavers. And when you say
Yeah.
cadavers, these are dead bodies that has been embalmed.
Mm-hmm.
So here was I, few months to the end of NYC. Reality was knocking on my door so hard,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was deeply confused about what was next. I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. I resorted to thinking. I was so worried and bothered. I was praying, because of this stereotype around dead bodies. Kai, it was a difficult time for me. And I felt
Mm,
like I had done everything right. I'd gone to
mm,
school, came out with a good result, served my country, taking courses. But here was I was stuck, still
mm,
waiting. I was unsure of what my direction will be. That season, Owen, tested my
mm,
faith so deeply, and it forced me to actually confront uncertainty heads on. What did I do? I felt like
mm,
instead of sitting here worrying about what's next, how about I reflect on how
mm,
far I have come? How about I reflect on these little things that I do not take cognizance of? And I tell you, it was after I started being intentional about that I was able to get clarity on what to do
mm.
next. So this is
Wow.
a story I love to tell to people, that even
Mm,
at that moment when it feels as, oh, there's no go area. You know that song? No,
yeah.
no. The truth is, when you sit to reflect, you begin
Mm,
to appreciate what you have. So there's this quote I
mm,
love to use, Theodore Roosevelt. He said, do what you can with what you have where you
mm,
are. That was what,
mm,
just it just ticked off in my head, and I'm like, okay,
mm.
where I am, enough of sitting back, enough of worrying about what's next. It's high time I take action. And that was a result I got from reflection and gratitude. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for trusting us with that. So you mentioned reflection. When we
Yeah.
reflect on what has happened to us in the past, we're able to give gratitude. And then I
Yeah.
like the scope that you also mentioned. He said, do what you can with
Yeah.
what you have. I
Yeah.
think stories like this, right, remind us that gratitude isn't denial, right? It's
Yeah.
perspective. Now, on the flip side, was there a season when it was particularly hard for you to be grateful?
Yes. So, apart from the season I shared earlier, there was also a season. It was also related to making plans. I know that there's this ideology we have when we are young. You want to grow, you want to go to the university, you
Mm-hmm.
graduate, you get a good job, be
Mm-hmm.
financially buoyant, get married, have children, da da da
You
da da da
start
da.
living God.
Exactly. The way we so design our life is beautiful,
Mm,
because when this
right?
begins to take shape and you're wondering, oh, what
I
happened to
didn't
that?
plan this, right? Mm,
Yeah, so for me, that was when it had to do with my career, and I had so many plans. Oh, I want to do this, I want to take 1 million courses, I want to do this, I want to transition, and it was all looking blurry. I am not gonna lie. It was a season that I realized that constantly focusing on what had not happened to me was robbing me of my peace.
mm,
It was robbing me of my peace. I was focusing more
mm,
on those things that I didn't have. I didn't focus on what it is I had achieved. I didn't focus on what it is God had helped me to pull through. So that
mm,
actually robbed almost robbed me of that. But I began to thank God, and I was intentional about it, intentional about focusing on what I had, and trying to use that to build on to the next template. And
mm,
the truth is, gratitude didn't change my situation overnight. It didn't happen overnight, but it changed me, and it
mm,
made all the difference. So from
mm,
that season till now, I already have that mind shift that
mm,
gratitude is not just something I should do when things are going well. Rather,
mm,
it
mm,
should be a character, an inbuilt characteristics that even unconsciously I exhibit. Yeah.
mm.
Thank you.
I love that. Simple but powerful. So let's talk outcomes for a moment. Can you share a testimony or an outcome that you genuinely believe came from living with a grateful heart?
Hmm. Yes, I have one, Andy. And one testimony that really stands out for me happened in 2023. That was when
Mm,
I took, yeah, my first trip to the United States of
wow.
America
Wow.
for an international event. Yeah, and the entire journey from the visa application to the
Mm,
approval was nothing short of God's grace. That
wow.
I know. And
Wow.
a defining moment within that period was when my boss called me to say that,
Mm,
hey, why? The flight ticket is far beyond the organization's budget, and you would need to contribute to this
mm,
if you truly want to attend this event. And I asked, oh, ma, how much would I? And she said, oh, over 1 million, because the
mm,
event was close by and the prices for tickets had gone up. And
mm,
in my mind, I was like, at this point, I didn't have a dime, because I had
mm,
already exhausted all of my savings traveling back and forth
mm,
to Abuja for the interview, the visa
mm,
collection. And at
mm.
that point, fear crept in. Fear
Wow.
crept in into me, because I felt, oh, how would I do this? How do I
Mm,
get this? But instead of
mm,
panicking, what I did was to reach out to one of my cell leader in church. And at that point, because the point was looking like there is no way, all I could do at that point was to just thank God and trust
mm,
Him completely for
mm,
provision. The truth is,
mm,
I didn't know how the funds would come, to be
mm,
very honest, but
mm.
I decided to choose gratitude at that point over anxiety, because I
Wow.
felt the Bible has said it. How
Wow.
many of you by worrying can add a cubit to his or her stature?
Mm,
So I told myself,
mm.
if I worry, it's not going to provide the money. So instead of
Right.
worrying, why not
Open
choose
solution. Mm.
gratitude? And
Wow.
ha, the most interesting part of it is, a few days later, my boss called again. When I saw her call, I was like, hey, is she calling to ask me for the money? And she just said,
One.
oh, your ticket has been fully sorted. I said, oh my
What?
God.
Oh my God. That's so
She said,
sweet.
you don't have to pay a thing, you don't have to
Oh.
pay a dime. Don't worry, it
That's
has been sorted. In
awesome.
fact, She was like, I don't know what you have done, no. But everybody was just saying, AY must go, AY must go. That even a
Wow.
colleague of mine had to drop, said, okay, I would support. And for me,
Um,
that was just a clear miracle. Like, it was a reminder for
um,
me that
mm,
when you
mm,
trust God with a grateful heart,
mm,
it shows up
mm,
in ways you can't explain. And that feeling is
mm,
so sweet.
mm,
You
mm,
just can't explain it. For me,
mm,
that was
mm,
mighty.
mm.
That was a clear miracle
That,
that I
that,
love
that,
to share over and over.
wow,
Yeah,
wow, that's a powerful testimony, and
yeah,
nothing is really outside of God's reach,
nothing.
honestly. Listening to you now, right, just made me remember one experience that we recently had.
Yeah,
This I recall we lost one of our precious gifts, right? I do not want to really go into full details because we're still in our healing process, right? And
mm,
I think many listeners are probably nodding right now because gratitude can feel so impossible when things
yeah,
are not going well, just like what you said earlier. So, in moments like this, AY, what happened to you? Like, what helped you practice gratitude even when life wasn't giving you reasons to smile? I know that there are some practical steps that you must have taken note of. So, what helped you to practice gratitude even when you know that I've gone through this thing now and still I'm still grateful for it? What are the practical steps that you took?
Okay, thank you so much, Oyi.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, I learned that gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. And I
Mm,
have learned to say, God, this is hard, but thank
mm,
you for still being present. So, some of
mm.
the practical things I do, the first is reflection. I'm sure you must have heard me say that over and
Yeah.
over today. So, reflection. So,
Mm,
I call myself an overthinker, but instead of me overthinking things, why not just use that moment to reflect? Reflection
mm,
yields more results, positive results. It helps you understand how far you've come, where you started from, and it even gives a clearer picture to what you're doing. So reflection is one of this. The second
mm.
is journaling. Oh my god, you can call me
I
the
love that.
documentation
Woo!
girl. Yeah, because I
I
love
love,
to
I love it a lot. Oh my goodness. Please go
yeah,
ahead.
exactly. Journaling is one thing that helps me. It helps me a whole lot. I don't think I
Mm,
can go out without having, even if it's just a pen and a small book or something. And even if I don't have that, my phone has its pen, and I can use it to just take notes at any point in time. So journaling helps a lot. Then
mm,
celebrating my small wins. Yeah,
mm,
I might have set out to achieve something bigger, but I took a step. I am going to
mm,
celebrate myself for that. And because I know nobody's going to clap for me outside, before
mm,
you even applaud me from the outside, I'll do that myself. Because
mm,
if I do that myself, I begin to see myself in a better way. So I have mentioned reflection, journaling, celebrating your small wins. And the last but not the least, which is the father of all, is prayer.
mm,
Prayer.
mm,
Yeah, this is one key and very important step I take to practice
mm,
gratitude. I pray. And I tell people prayer is not about me shouting or screaming the whole word down. There are days I do that. But prayer for me is communication. And what is communication? It is you passing an information between the sender and the receiver. And one
yeah,
key thing in communication is getting feedback. So when I pray, when I
mm,
communicate with God, I expect feedbacks. So these are things that helps me with gratitude, because after you've reflected, you tend to appreciate and see those things that you've actually achieved more
mm,
than those things you've not achieved. So
mm,
yeah,
mm. Wow. That's, oh God, that's such a powerful reminder, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
while you were speaking, this just dropped in my mind that gratitude can also be a discipline, right?
yeah,
Before it becomes a feeling. You don't have to feel like, oh, something good has happened to me this week, so God, I'm grateful for that. You don't have to feel it. You can just like you having your breakfast in the morning, your
Yeah.
lunch, it can also be a discipline, right?
Yeah.
Now, which leads me to this: how do you stay grateful during season of loss? During season of disappointment. You mentioned that during your NYSC, you had difficult times, and I know that it's one of those moments that you would have sent out proposals and your CVs and all, and then you heard
Yeah.
no here from different angles. So how do you stay grateful during seasons like that? Just give me
Hmm.
like two too practical, because it's difficult, right? It's easier
Yeah.
said than done. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm literally experiencing this, and someone is saying that I have to be grateful. So
Absolutely.
what helped you stay in that, gratitude moment?
Hmm. What helps me stay focused is I focus on what remains constant, oh, which is God's
Mm,
presence.
ah,
That is constant. And that is what I focus on. I focus on God's presence. I focus on supportive people, my safe
mm,
space system, quality
mm,
men, because I don't think there's anyone that can actually go far without having supportive quality and
mm,
that safe space system. So I
mm,
focus on God's presence, I focus on supportive people, and I focus on
mm,
the strength that I've built so far. Because I
mm,
write down all of these things, I'm able to go back to see that, yeah, God did this then, so why won't He do it now? And
mm,
gratitude in those moments, my sister, becomes
mm,
quieter. It doesn't have to be, oh thank you, oh thank you. It becomes more reflective because I begin to think deeply, and it's powerful that way. So those are what I do to stay grateful. Yeah.
mm. Wow. So, AY, gratitude has really shaped your faith, right? Because listening to
Yeah.
you sound like a faith being to me.
Yeah.
you know so I'm so sure that it must have shaped your faith as well. And for me, gratitude doesn't just affect our inner life, right?
Yeah.
It's it spills into how we relate with others,
Yeah.
right? I can see, for example, your weather or going through, a tough season, and then I can
Mm-hmm.
see holding my hands and you're saying, I just want us to have like this worship, moment, and just don't really
Mm-hmm.
have to be that season where everything is bubbling for us to be
Yeah.
grateful. So, how gratitude affected your relationship with people?
For me, it has made me more compassionate.
Mm,
There's this, I don't know
mm,
if anyone takes note of this part in the Bible, but before Jesus Christ performed any miracle, the Bible
mm,
recorded that, and He had compassion on them.
mm,
Gratitude for me has made me more compassionate and less reactive.
mm,
Yes, less
mm,
reactive to what people do. Because when you are grateful, you actually learn to appreciate people the way they are, not
mm,
just for what they can offer to you at that point. So it has helped me value community,
mm,
value people the more, and also
mm,
be more compassionate. Yeah, I think
mm,
that's all I
mm.
can say in summary about
That
that.
that's such an important point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Compassionate, and having to value people around you more. But let's be honest, AY. Some people
Yeah.
feel that their pain is too deep, like is too deep for gratitude. So, what would you say to people like that they are
Mhm.
having this in listening to this podcast right now? Like all these ones that you are saying, that one is not none of my concern. Like what I'm facing right now is so deep,
Mhm.
and I can't be grateful for that. So what would you say to people like that who feel that their pain is too deep for gratitude?
Okay, thank you, Lee. And to everyone listening, whether you're listening in the morning, in the noon, or at night, whenever you're listening to this, This is
mm,
what I would say to you, and I want you to listen because this is coming from the depth of my heart. It
mm,
is, you are not wrong for feeling that way. You
mm,
are not wrong,
mm.
because gratitude does not just dismiss the pain, it doesn't,
Ah,
but it
mm,
coexists with it. So
mm,
I am not
mm,
disputing the fact that this feeling you're having is wrong. No, it is not wrong. But I want you
mm,
to start small.
mm,
Start small. You don't have to be grateful for the pain, no, but you
mm,
can be grateful within it. Look back, reflect. My
mm.
sister, reflect. My brother, reflect. Just have that deep reflect.
In
Yeah.
one sentence, AY, how can you
Yeah.
define a grateful life? Just in one sentence, how can you define a grateful life?
A grateful life, in one
Yes,
sentence, is
yes, please.
one that recognizes purpose and possibility, even
Mm,
in imperfect moments.
mm, mm, mm,
Yeah. A
mm,
grateful life is one, yeah, that recognizes purpose and
mm,
possibility, even in
mm.
imperfect moments.
No, awesome.
Yeah.
So if listeners take away just one lesson from your story and this conversation today, what should
Yeah.
it be?
Hmm. To every listener out there, gratitude does not erase the pain. I mentioned that earlier, but it gives
Yeah,
pain meaning, and that
mm,
meaning can transform your life.
that's
Yeah.
powerful. That
Okay.
also realize that gratitude doesn't change the situation. You mentioned that earlier, right? It
Yeah.
changes. Now, to me, a grateful life is when one is so conscious of God's goodness
Yeah.
every single day. Like every single day, you're conscious of God's goodness, and then you're choosing to stay content and joyful, regardless of what I'm facing.
Yeah.
A grateful life is waking up each day aware of God's faithfulness, even in
Mm-hmm.
imperfect moments, and letting that awareness shape your joy.
Yeah.
So it's been an amazing time with you, AY.
Yeah.
Wow,
Thank
this
you
is
for having me.
this is quite an interesting one, and I'm really glad that we talked about this. You know, I'm really glad about it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for this conversation, for your honesty, for your wisdom as well, and your heart. Ewa, you have such a beautiful heart, and I am grateful to God for the gift of you. Right?
Thank
These are
you.
grounding and refreshing discussion, personally for me, and to everyone listening. I hope this episode reminds you that gratitude is not about pretending things are perfect. If I said it earlier, no, it's not about you pretending that everything is fine with me. It's about choosing perspective. It's about you still relying on God, even when things are not going well, right? And it's about you choosing faith and hope, even in imperfect moments. So, thank you so much for listening to Perspiration with Oyin. So if this blessed you, please share this with someone and then leave your comments below. Until next time, keep living intentionally and keep choosing gratitude. Bye for now.